can you put the PowerPoint up, please? There, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the second session of the day. This one is entitled Be the Brand, Communication Techniques in the NARFE Pitch. Yesterday, we did a generic session so that we could begin to understand what brand and branding means and how we can bring that into NARFE. And today, we're bringing it into NARFE to give you a lot of good points. Our speaker today is Martha Nall. She is a retired extension professor from the University of Kentucky, and she is also a NARFE member. So we certainly welcome her today. And I'm not going to take up any more of her time because we are running late and we want to hear what she has to say.
Thank you. It's nice to be here. It's nice to be at the NARFE convention again this year. I was at the one in Reno. And I would like to say, any of you who are sitting in the far corners that would like to move in or in the back that would like to move up, come on down. I love to have my audience right in front of me, so if you feel like moving, please come on down because I want to get you engaged in talking and discussing being the brand, communication techniques in the NARFE pitch as we recruit new members for the organization. So you're welcome to move on down. Please feel free to, there's lots of seats down front, as always. I hope you're having a good time at the conference. I think it's always great to get together and renew acquaintances with people we've seen before and get to know others and to share ideas. And so I hope part of what comes out of this session today is that we get to share some of the, you get to share with each other and share with the group as a whole some of the ideas and things that you've done that have been successful in your own chapters. As we begin, I want you to answer this question for me. What do you like about NARFE? Some of you just call out some things, and I'll try and repeat what I hear. What do you like about NARFE? They're fighting for our benefits, okay? Anything else? What else? They acknowledge that there are such things as federal retirees and federal employees. We exist. Camaraderie, friendships, relationships. I think that speaker yesterday made the comment about it's one-on-one, all about relationships. Relationships. Opportunity to continue serving. Brings up the point that the one thing that you have in common, you know, we have lots of diversity and we may have some things in common, but we've all worked for the federal government, chosen a career where it is about service. It's about serving the people of the United States. It's about being a civil servant. So yes, and it's still a continued opportunity to do that as we are in retirement. Anything else? We get good information. We're going to say information too. Lots of good information in lots of forms and formats. So there's lots to like about NARFE. And as we think about being the brand, this is what we want to present to others, the things we really like about it, what it does for us, what its value is. So I want to begin with, hit the wrong button. There we go. I want to begin with just a brief review. I'm not sure everybody in the room now was in the session yesterday, so I want to talk a minute about what a brand is and what a brand promise is. A brand promise is a brand in itself is a promise that you make to the world of what's going to be delivered, the value of this brand. We're going to talk about some brands. Here's one. Well, okay. Built Ford Tough. What's the promise? It's going to last. It's tough. What's the picture there? They're driving on boulders is what it looks like. And anytime you see a Built Ford Tough pickup advertisement that's either covered in mud, indicating, oh, it can go through anything. It's pulling something extremely big and extremely heavy. It's tough. Driving on rocks, something like that. That logo is 35 years old. 36 years old this year. And this is a quote on the bottom of the screen from Doug Scott, who was the manager of the Ford truck division. And he said, Built Ford Tough, it's more than a tagline, it is a brand promise. They're promising that it will last. Now, yesterday, I think the speaker used some of the slogans and the brands, and ironically, I have a couple of the same, but you tell me what this brand is. Nike, we know it. And what is the promise? Just do it. What did you say? Fast, good, quality, cool, winners. You'll play basketball like Michael Jordan, right? Wrong. But that was the promise that was sold, and kids believed it. When those shoes came out, I think they were $100 a pair, and all the kids in the world wanted to be Michael Jordan. Just do it. It's a brand promise. Here's another one. It is not about the food pyramid. Apple. Yes, Apple. And what are they promising? Cool, innovative, up-to-date, creative, quality, very few viruses. I think that's one of the things that comes with that Apple brand is you're not going to get computer viruses. Apple's right there. Here's one he didn't have, and you know what? What's the brand? Morton Salt. And this brand is this logo is 100 years old this year. It was first established in 1914. The little girl's clothes have changed. Her hairstyle's changed a little bit. Even the umbrella has changed a little bit, but she's always had and still has that container of salt under her arm, spilling it out the back, and the statement's there, when it rains, it pours, indicating it's a promise to you that if you buy this container of salt, you will always be able to open that little top and get salt out of it because it will not collect moisture and get hard like it does in the salt shaker. It's a brand promise, and we know what it is. You know the brand, and you know the image of that organization. Here are a bunch of them, a bunch of the brands that we recognize, and they all mean something specific to us. Jim Sloan, who is a communications specialist at the University of Nevada with the Cooperative Extension Service, made this statement, and I could relate to this one. It says, the thing about branding and messaging is that it's like housework. It's never really done. You have to keep repeating it and reminding people, as well as communicating your brand to people who don't know you. There is a reason we see the same advertisements over and over. They are repeating the brand and the brand promise, and they're making an image in your mind of what this product is. Today I want to talk about being the brand in 3 different areas. Being the brand in conversations, being the brand recruiting members, and briefly about being the brand in your chapters. Being the brand in conversations. You've probably heard this statement or this question, what is NARFE? And there are a couple of responses that I think that question can elicit, or certainly from a couple of different perspectives. Let's say that you've just gotten home from a meeting and your neighbor who's a teacher says, where have you been? And you respond, I've been to a NARFE meeting. And her response is, what is NARFE? Okay, what does she want to know? She's not a potential member. She wants to know what you're meeting. And you just think, you know, she's not going to be a member, but you never know how far your response can influence maybe other potential members. So you say, yeah, I've been to a NARFE meeting. It is so much fun. We always have great speakers, and I learn so much, and they share information that's just come from national, from Washington, D.C., that will really impact our benefits, and it's a great organization. Later that night, she says, oh, I saw Nancy today, and Nancy had been to a NARFE meeting. And he says, oh, my sister-in-law works for the Postal Service, and I think she said something about maybe joining something like that. Well, Nancy said it was great. Okay, positive response. What if you had said, I just got home from a NARFE meeting, and those things go on forever. And we talk and never make decisions. You know, well, maybe that would have carried over to a potential member. You never know. So be the brand in all conversations with friends, neighbors, and strangers, and be positive. The other time when we often have that question is maybe when we're exhibiting at something where there are federal employees and federal retirees might be attending, and we have an exhibit and someone walks up and says, "What is NARFE?" Then we need a specific response that helps them understand the value of the organization. And what we often call this is the elevator speech. Doesn't mean you have to be on an elevator to give it, but it is a concise statement that would take about the amount of time you would have if you were riding up the elevator in a hotel with someone and they said, "Oh, I see lots of people with name tags like you've got on. What is NARFE?" is what they might say. What is NARFE? Then you have a short period of time to make a statement to convey to them what the acronym stands for, especially if you're at an exhibit where there are potential members, what its value is, why they should join, what you get out of it. The elevator speech is your branding message, just like when it rains, it pours. It's what people will see in the organization and the value of what it stands for. Okay, I want to say a couple of things about elevator speeches. They have to be your words. We can read what other people write, we can hear what other people say, but the most effective elevator speeches are yours. They have to be your own words and your own message, and it has to come from your heart and what you believe. It has to be short. People aren't going to give you a long time. You know, even today, people have gone from Facebook to Twitter because Twitter only has 40 characters, and they want it fast, and they want it simple, and they want it specific. It has to be jargon-free. And what happens when we write speeches, or write elevator speeches and print them and share them with others is they tend to have a lot of jargon. They get to be broad so that fit everything we do and everything that people say and everybody who's a member of the organization. And it tends to come across with a lot of jargon that's not really meaningful. It has to be jargon-free, specific, conversational. It has to be informative. It's your chance to communicate the value of the organization. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. It is really important. I was talking with a friend recently about membership in organizations, and she made the statement that if you want people to join, the organization must offer members something of value that they cannot get anywhere else. It has to be informative. It has to inform them of the value of NARFE and something that they can't get anywhere else. And it has to, okay, there's informative, and it has to answer the question, what is NARFE? And so it may be different for the next door neighbor than it is for the potential member. NARFE has an elevator speech. It is on the website. It is on the page, I think, with membership recruitment. It's a tool that you can use. I think that's where you will find it, as under membership resources. And I'm going to share the NARFE elevator speech. Now, it takes me 3 slides to get the elevator speech up here. And I'm going to kind of read it. Listen for, does it answer those questions? Is it informative? Is it short? Is it jargon-free? Is it sincere? Does it, answer the question, what is NARFE for a potential member, and indicate the value? NARFE is the National Active and Retired Federal Employees Association. It is the only organization solely dedicated to protecting and preserving the pay and benefits of all federal workers and retirees. NARFE has 2 primary roles: your legislative voice, in-house influential lobbyists advocate on Capitol Hill on behalf of the federal community. Your information resource, NARFE provides clear information and trusted guidance on complex federal benefit issues. As a member of NARFE, you will receive a NARFE magazine, access to a team of federal benefit service specialists for answers to complex benefit questions. Are we hearing jargon? Legislative alerts on issues directly impacting the federal community, and an online legislative action center to quickly and easily contact your members of Congress. Member-only eligibility for scholarships, disaster relief grants, and discounts on products and services. When you join NARFE, you will receive you will protect your earned pay and benefits, ensure you can get trusted guidance on complex pay and benefit questions, and support the federal community. Now, I hope in that elevator you were going to the 23rd floor. because you're going to need it to give this elevator speech. But let's take a minute. Make this elevator speech yours. There is good information there. And this is the nice piece of information to hand out for someone to take home and read and to really look at. It's great, but it's not the way we talk. So when someone says to you, what is NARFE? You have to have a conversational response. And so that's what I'd like to look at for a minute. Okay, here's the first 2 sentences of the NARFE elevator speech. You've got a pad and pencil in front of you, and you've got people sitting next to you. Talk to the people next to you. Look at these 2 sentences. What would you leave out? How would you say it in conversational tone? And I do think that first one's important. We use acronyms a lot, and people don't know what acronyms stand for, and they have to know what the letters in NARFE stand for. But how would you say, if someone came up to you and said, what is NARFE, and you were going to start with this information on the screen now, how would you respond? So jot down a couple of responses, and then we'll have some people just voluntarily go to the microphones and share what they wrote. I need music to play while we write this, don't I? Oh, there we go. Thank you. Do we know our Jeopardy answer? Okay, it looks like some of you are through writing. Would anyone like to go to a microphone and share what you wrote down? How would you respond to what is NARFE? What would the first couple of things you'd say be? I think we can have it's easy to turn the mics on wherever you are, so if anyone wants to just step up to a mic. Okay, here's one that's going somewhere. Okay, it's over here at microphone number 5. When the red light is on the microphone, it's hot, and I think if you touch on the center, you can turn it on. When the red light is on, the microphone is live, and if you touch it, it will go off. So once it's on and you've got a red light, you're good to go.
I believe it is on.
There you go.
For me, I would have just done away with the first sentence saying, doing the NARFE thing. I'd just say, oh, NARFE is the only organization solely dedicated to protecting and preserving the pay and benefits of all federal workers.
Okay.
And stop right there. And then add to that.
Okay. All right. That's an idea. Now, they may say, what does it stand for? At which point you can come back and answer it, okay? Someone over here at number 9. Are you on? Okay.
I always just tell everyone that that's our insurance policy on keeping our benefits we have earned.
Okay. Remember, you're talking to federal employees or retirees, and good response. Here at the middle. Okay, when you touched the mic, it went off, so turn it back on. Yes.
There you go.
There you go. Red light.
Okay. I would make it personal.
Okay.
That it's a National Active and Retired Federal Employees Association that protects my benefits and is my voice on the Hill.
Okay. Good response. Do we have someone over here? Okay, that mic's not on. I don't. You do there. Once you get a red light.
Here you go. We advocate for federal employee and retiree pay and benefits. The E is silent. We are not.
Okay. Okay.
Hello? Yes, here in the center at number
Okay.
7.
Okay.
I'm not going to go through the whole speech, but I have a suggestion for writing and for talking. Don't start with NARFE. The National Active and Retired Federal Employees Association, and particularly when writing, follow it by parentheses surrounding the acronym NARFE. and that it's the only organization dedicated to protecting the benefits of all federal employees.
Okay.
But I think it's important not to start with the acronym.
Okay. I'm going to go over here to number 10.
Yes, when I talk about NARFE, I say it's my organization and it protects my family's benefits that were earned because I was a federal employee, and that the benefits even include the pay of current workers.
Okay. Good. Did we give up on this one over here? Okay. This one back there.
NARFE is a federal employee organization dedicated to federal employees for the benefit of all Americans.
Okay.
I have just a point to make about NARFE and how we talk about it. We're all retired federal employees or annuitants or whatever. But when you talk to the people who are not federal employees, they think that we have a pension that would put us in the upper tax bracket, and they think that we have health insurance that we don't have to pay for, and that everything that we got, it's more than we should. And if you're talking about protecting our right, our stuff, what we worked so hard for, they don't appreciate that. So what you got to do is do something that would bring them on board to support what we do, to acknowledge that we worked so hard for all those years without throwing it up in their face.
Right. And that's where I'm saying the response, there are two kinds of questions. What is NARFE? There's the one that's the potential member, where you're really telling them specifically about what the value of the organization for them as potential members of this organization, versus the general public that you were talking about, which would be a different response. And I think this elevator speech is written for recruiting potential members. Okay, I think maybe we've gotten most of everybody.
Number 12.
One more.
One more, and where are you? What?
Right?
Mike 12.
Look
Okay.
on your right.
Oh, way over there in the
Yeah.
corner. Okay.
Okay.
Listen.
I know we are talking to get new members, but let me ask you this. Nobody really is talking about the members what we already have. For example, chapter has like 300-400 members, and they come in a meeting only like 20 or 25 people. What we need to do, or what we should do, and what we can do to bring more people to our meetings?
I'm going to get to that maybe in a little bit. I'm going to talk about chapters and what chapters do to be the brand in the chapters. So thank you for reminding me, and I will get to that later. Okay. I want to do maybe the next two statements. You know, this beyond, okay, the first two sentences where you're getting their attention and communicating the value. Then NARFE has two primary roles, your legislative voice, and the statement is in-house influential lobbyists advocate on Capitol Hill on behalf of the federal community. Can we say that more succinctly? Can we say that in a conversational tone? What would it be? Your information resource provides clear information and trusted guidance on complex federal benefit issues. So take a couple of minutes and write down, how would you make those statements conversational?
I think so. Excuse me. Hi. I would probably say it in very simple language and basically say they're our voice in Congress. They keep us apprised of all our issues and help to achieve our goals and keep our benefits.
Okay, very succinct, very specific. If they want to know more about the legislation advocacy, you can go into that as they ask a follow-up question, but you know, they're our voice in Congress. Okay, anyone else have something they want to share? How would you say this?
I think just simply just say, NARFE
has the lowdown on what's happening up on Capitol Hill.
Okay, they've got the lowdown on what's happening on Capitol Hill, and they keep us informed. Okay, a couple of great examples of how we can take what's there. We advocate on Capitol Hill, taking even some of the words, but leaving out some of the things that become jargon when you talk. NARFE has two roles. They're on Capitol Hill, making sure on our behalf, and NARFE provides information on issues related to retirement and benefits, period. So you can make it more specific. So I want to just make a couple of statements here. When you write your elevator speech, take the time to think about what you want to say and write it down. It does take time, and I think because we have such a short period of time in communicating the elevator speech idea, it takes a long time to say specifically, concisely what we want to say. Write it down, edit it, write it down some more, and edit some more. I think it was Winston Churchill who said, "How long does it take you to prepare for a speech?" And his response was, "Well, if I have 10 minutes, I might take 4 or 5 days to work on that speech. But if I got 2 hours, I'm ready right now." And the idea is the longer you have, the less specific you have to be and the more you can talk. And I think an elevator speech is that 10-minute speech or less. It's the very short, concise statement. So work on it. Make it your own. Own the words, own the feelings, explain why it's of value to you. Once you've done that, write it down again, then read it out loud. Read it out loud, read it out loud, until you can say it without even thinking. When someone says, "What's NARFE?" it just comes out of your mouth naturally. It's yours. You own it. They're your words. It's your feelings. There's a minister in Louisville, Kentucky, who has a very, very large church, and his sermons are on the radio on Sunday mornings every week. And someone once said on that, it's a huge radio station, it's 50,000 watt clear channel, and someone once, a professional that works at that station made the comment, "He is the best communicator on our radio station." And he was including all of the professionals that are on that station. And I heard that minister say one time, before he ever gives a sermon, he says it out loud 6 times before he ever gets up and repeats it. And I think what he's saying is, once you say it out loud and you hear it, you're reading and listening. You're using 2 senses, and the more you do that, the more they become your words. You own them, and they're easy to say. It's not like you memorize it exactly, but it becomes a part of you. It's a part of your conversation. Practice, practice, practice. Make the message yours. Okay, where did you first hear about NARFE? Where did you hear about the organization? Workplace. At your workplace? Retirement seminar, a neighbor? From another NARFE member? At a health fair? From your husband? Oh, at the death of your husband you heard about. Okay. Okay, you were not OPM. Okay. Someone saw an article in the newspaper. A letter from National? No, okay.
Hello,
Okay.
I'm back here again at number 7. By the way, my name is Nan Call. I never worked a day in my life for the federal government. My husband, who passed away almost 3 years ago, worked 24 years for a private trucking industry. A big ugly story about the union colluding with them and moving it out of state, and most people being without a job afterwards. He eventually was hired to work as a driver, an MVO, for the Postal Service. He was under CSRS. We moved from Brooklyn, New York to Brick, New Jersey. I saw a notice in the paper about a NARFE meeting. and I already had learned about GPO web, and I didn't care so much how it affected him personally because I was employed. In fact, I got a better pension than he had, and I have better Social Security benefit than he had. But I thought it was the most unfair thing for anybody to have to suffer that, and some were in grave circumstances. I happened to go to a computer club meeting. I got talking to the person who was the president of the chapter that met in the Ocean County area. She said, oh, and I said, I've been thinking about that. And I became a member. Now, I do also want to go back to what you said. I have a suggestion, it was everybody's, to either adopt it or not. You mentioned legislation, and you said on Capitol Hill. It's not just there. Our legislative officer for many, many years, the late Frank Spatola, was very involved in advocating for what crossed boundaries in the New Jersey legislature. For instance, pensions get taxed in New Jersey. So he worked very hard on those issues. And that is something that NARFE isn't strictly. It is the only one that does protect all government, and Capitol Hill is the most important. But it crosses the boundaries, and it helps senior citizens in the same way that it does for the government employees. I hope that you take something from that.
Thank you. And I think one of the things you're mentioning is that politics is local, and chapters are local. And so you can influence a lot, and you can have a lot of influence as a group in any community. Many people learn about NARFE from either a seminar in their organization, their career path where they were working, or through exhibits at health fairs and those kinds of things. And I think coming up in the fall as you get ready, there are a lot of health fairs and there are a lot of open enrollment, and there's a lot of agencies will have exhibits, and you might have a chance to exhibit at one of those this fall. And I want to mention about being the brand when you are recruiting new members. As you think about exhibiting, one of the things I think we need to consider is that exhibit design. That may be the first impression a lot of people have about the organization. It needs to be professional, attractive, draw them in, make them want to come talk to you. Many times there are lots of different exhibit booths, and so there's lots of competition for attention. And having a professional looking exhibit booth is really important to get people to see the organization as a professional association, and then come talk to you about, well, what is it and how can I benefit? When I was in grade school, maybe even high school, we used to, remember the stencils where you drew the letters and you made the posters and you colored them in, and half the time they were crooked and the other half time the letters all ran together and you couldn't tell one word from another. We graduated from that, and then we got stick-on letters, but still had trouble keeping them straight. Well, voila, we have printers and computers now, and we can print anything professionally in any size font in any way you want to, and we need to utilize that. We need to make those exhibits professional. Little things like covering the table. If you may be outside, you may be in a hallway, you may be in an exhibit hall. They may provide a table covering like you do in hotels. They may not. Because your chapter, buy a tablecloth. Make a table, get some fabric and put some hem in it, and have one that you use for exhibits and use at your chapter meeting. You might even get someone to an embroidery place to embroider the name and the logo on the front of it. Colors are fine. I think neutral colors are great, and you can use them anywhere and any time of the year. If you're exhibiting in the fall, you can get a mum and put on it, and it looks great with a white tablecloth. If you're in the spring, you can put some jonquils on there on the table and make it attractive, and looks great with a white tablecloth. And if someone spills coffee, you can bleach it. So one of the nice things about white is it's easy to clean. But have a table cover. There are lots of resources that you can use. NARFE has a lot of resources. This is a web screenshot of their resources for membership recruitment. It includes such things as this 8.5 by 11 chapter poster that can be put on bulletin boards or be on a table at a NARFE exhibit where you can just share, you know, meeting times, who to contact for membership information if someone wanted to pick that up. This is a poster, and I think it's about 18 by 24. You can download that, take it to a copy shop, print it, mount it on an exhibit board. A lot of the copy shops, craft and hobby places like Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Office Depot, they have exhibits. They have exhibit boards that are like foam core board or construction paper that will stand up that you can mount things on, and they're relatively inexpensive. Used to, we had to get these heavy Velcro things that weighed a ton and cost a fortune, but now you can go to those places and get something that's relatively inexpensive and make it attractive. We have a comment right here.
Yeah, thanks. My comment really was more appropriate for the elevator talk when you jumped into the next
I'm sorry.
slide. But it applies to this as well.
Okay.
One of the things that you talked about was trying to tell people too much in that elevator talk and explaining NARFE. And I did just the opposite of some of these people. I say it's a group of active and retired federal employees. Are you one? And then I give them my business card. I have my email, my name, which is a little bit complicated because it's got an apostrophe. I have the location on the back. I have the location of our meeting.
Okay, and it has the NARFE logo on it?
And it has the NARFE logo. So whether you're in the elevator or at one of these presentations, for the few bucks for a business card, people get a bunch of papers, they'll throw them away. But you take the business card, they might stick it in their wallet, and then they go look for their money, and they see that card.
Yeah.
Plus, you're getting them to see that logo, which Ken thinks is kind of old-fashioned, which it is. But the point is that the brand is attached to that until we change it. So I think a business card for the few bucks, I think every NARFE officer should have it, because wherever you go, you meet somebody out, your neighbor, you hand them the card.
And we probably had them when we worked. You know, they were professional with the organization we were with, and now it's like when you want to tell someone your name and how to contact you, unless you've bought some business cards, it's kind of complicated.
Well, and the other thing, too, is you can put your phone number, you can put your email address on that. And like I said, in the back, you could use for meeting information or a slogan or a brief summary. So that takes away all those extra words you have to say. And then if I say to them, oh, if you're interested, do you have a business card?
Right. And then it gives you a follow-up opportunity.
Right. And that, to me, I think money well spent, very simple, easy, portable. And I would highly recommend that for everybody.
And it's part of the exhibit process. Putting business cards on tables. People will pick up a business card when they might not pick up a brochure. Sure. They can't hear. She prints her own business cards, and there are computer programs that allow you to do that. Yes, and you can put on it what you want to. You don't even have to order 500. Okay, I'm going to go on.
Oh, is that me? Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Barry Greer, Chapter 1466, Maryland. I'm the events coordinator for the Federation, the Maryland Federation, and I work a number of these health benefit fairs. The most important tool we have, in my opinion, is the magazine.
Okay, I'm going to get to that.
So I press that in the person's hand, because they'll sit there and look at the magazines. I press the magazine, and I tell them, we protect your benefits as retired employees and active employees. That's it, because what I'm trying to get to is this. You've got 10 seconds in a normal exhibit fair. You don't have time to
go through all the benefits and all the things you can do. Right.
Because they're pushing, because they're on their break.
Yeah.
Okay? Or they're on their lunch. And so all they're interested in is your ballpoint pens or whatever the case may be. So you've got to tell them in 10 seconds what this whole organization is about, press them with a magazine, and that's that.
That's right. Good point. One question right here, and then I'm going to move on, because I want to make sure we get through everything.
To reconfirm the business, the back of my card that has my chapter number, et cetera, goes helping you protect your earned retirement benefits for over 90 years. And then there's another little logo about America's Heartbeat, and then the NARFE org website again.
Okay,
It is the
great.
most inexpensive.
It's amazing what you can put on a small space such as a business card, and you can get a lot of information on there. The NARFE magazine exhibits is a great idea. I think if you don't want to go into all the things it does, if they pick up a magazine, they'll see all the things it does because it's there every month. Another thing you might want to have with you, of course, is the membership application or the prospect information card. People may not want to give you their name and address, but if maybe you've got a bowl there and you've got a drawing for a gift certificate for $25 at a bookstore or a local restaurant. It's amazing what people will fill out of the chance of getting a $25 gift certificate. And you've got information for maybe 50 people. And you can contact them, you can send those cards to National and they will contact them. So having something to draw people in and to get them to fill out those cards, easy to do, and the benefits outweigh the cost. Something else you might want to do these, but I would say whatever the size of your table, whatever you do, make it attractive, not cluttered. And you know, stacks of things will kind of turn people off, and it's like you said, we'll pick them up, but we may throw them away before we get out the door. So make sure that it's meaningful and it's something they want. Glad for them to take it. And hopefully you've hit the target and you've given them a way to contact the organization if they don't want to sign up today. Beyond the resources, one of the things in manning an exhibit is being friendly and being open. You are communicating the brand. You are the brand. You know, Coca-Cola sells soft drinks, and they have a lot of employees who do that, but they're selling soft drinks. That's their brand. It's the product. The product in this is us. It's the membership, is what we are. So you are the brand, and when you're exhibiting, you know, stand up, welcome, greet, look people in the eye, smile, talk to them, welcome them in. Come on over and talk to me. Ask if they have any questions, if they've heard about it, you know, share your information. A lot of times you may be there a long time and you may have a couple of chairs, and I know sometimes you might need to sit down, but people will be more apt to come over if you're standing up by the exhibit, looking at them and talking to them. And it's nice if you've got more than one person there, because people tend to come in bunches. They all come at once and then there's nobody, and then they all come at once and then there's nobody. So it's nice to have someone else with you, but make sure that you're not engaged in conversation with that other person, because if the two of you are talking together, no one will come by. They won't interrupt you. So just think about those things as you man the exhibit. I think sometimes in places like that, a piece of chocolate goes a long way, a bowl of Hershey. Come on, have a Hershey Kiss, you know, and let me tell you about this organization. And they will stop and listen to you and to talk with you in order to get a piece of candy. So it's amazing the things, a pencil, give away a pencil, something inexpensive that will draw them in, and then we'll get them to come over and talk with you. Okay, recruiting. Be the brand with colleagues and friends, and remember when you talk about the organization, and if you share information with 25 people and they share it each with 25 people, you've made 625 contacts. The best marketing is word of mouth. And it's amazing what people pick up on and will share because they have talked with you. Watch acronyms. We tend to do that. I think, well, all agencies and everybody does that. And sometimes I get tickled when I'll see a sentence with so many acronyms, I don't even know what it's talking about. And a lot I'll hear, and I don't know that there's another organization that uses the NARFE, N-A-R-F-E acronym, but ADA, I have to go through my list of things I know that ADA stands for, American Dietetics Association, Americans with Disabilities Act. You know, you go on down, and so you have to kind of filter those things, and it doesn't communicate like, we may know what we mean, but they don't always know. So limiting the use of acronyms is important. I want to mention telephone calling. We don't do a lot of that, but within your chapter, it might be beneficial in getting people to renew. A few years ago, I sold a house and bought a house and had to move within 3 weeks, and in the process, my renewal notice came. Well, it got in a box, and sometimes those boxes don't get unpacked. And so after a few months, I still had not run across that, and a member of our local chapter called. It was someone that I had worked with, and I think it was, they had divided up the names of non-renewals, and if you know this person, call them. So it was people calling people they knew. And she just said, she hesitantly said, I know we noticed I'm in NARFE that you hadn't renewed. And I said, oh my goodness, it's totally slipped my mind. Thank you so much for calling. I will dig that renewal notice out and pay my dues. I do appreciate the organization and I want to be a member. It's just with everything that's going on, it had gotten laid to the side and I hadn't seen it. And then she said, this was one of the tasks I did not want to do. I hate calling people on the phone and asking them to join. But everybody I've called has said the same thing you did. Thank you for calling. I didn't mean to not pay my dues. It had just, fallen through the cracks, and I appreciate your reminding me. So sometimes a few telephone calls can go a long ways, especially within the chapter and with people that you might know. There is a current recruitment incentive going on, in case you haven't seen it. It is in the September issue of the NARFE magazine. $10 for each new member that is recruited in the month of September. So it is a great time to go out there and get some new members. And see, I read my NARFE magazine. It just came this week, and there it is on the slide. So it is a great incentive. But of course, getting members is important. Keeping them is also as important. And that's what I want to talk about with chapters, keeping them, being the brand in the chapters. It's one thing to be the brand at an exhibit, talking to people about the value of the organization and how much it means, but when they come to that chapter meeting, they need to see the same brand, the same excitement, enthusiasm, and friendliness that they saw at that exhibit. So think about that at your chapters. If there's a new person who walks in, make sure that 10 people introduce themselves and say, I'm glad you came, and tell me about yourself, and we hope you'll come back, and we would love to have any new ideas that you might have. Welcome them to the chapter. Be enthusiastic. Let them see that it is what you said it was, or what someone said it was when they got them to join. Remember that many times at exhibits, you make contacts and you may not see the fruits of that effort for several months. They may take that membership brochure home and not sign up for a while. I also want to say that people join for their reasons, and a lot of different reasons, and people are in lots of different stages of life. And sometimes they may join as an active member and not come to a meeting for years until they retire. And then they may say, now I've got the time, I'm available, I'm looking forward to getting involved. It's a group of people with similar values to me who worked in the same kind of career, and I would love to be a part of that group. So, in answer to the question over here, yes, there are people who are members but don't come to the chapters, but maybe they will. But if the chapter is, a colleague recently, a former colleague, was talking about his chapter in another part of the state, not in central Kentucky where I live, but another part of the state, and he said, we get people who come to our chapter because they love it. They may drive a little bit farther than they have to, but they come to our chapter because we have fun and they enjoy being there and they get a lot out of the meetings. So being the brand at the chapter meeting, confirming the brand at the chapter level will help keep those members. Okay, we have a few minutes, and I would like to ask you if there's something you've done in your chapters that has been effective in recruiting new members that you would like to share. I think national meetings like this are a great chance to share ideas and to get new ideas from other people, things that have really worked where you got a lot of new members and things that you might have done. I may have to cut you off. We've only got about 7 or 8 minutes left. So if you would like to share something that you've done in your chapter that really worked, we'll try this microphone system again. And I think there's one over there. Right here. We're back there. Okay, we're back there.
I'm Barbara Arthurs from Chapter 1563. I just want to share a thought, and I think it would work. You know that branding that says "Got Milk"?
Oh, yes.
You've seen that.
American Dairy Council.
Okay. Our posters to recruit has our logo, and it has a lot of words, but maybe something to attract, especially at exhibits, tables that exhibit information, is to have something that says, are you a federal employee or were you a federal? Something, a question that the viewer can respond to, relate to. that would be the first way to get their attention. I think that could really work.
And those kinds of slogans and logos built Ford tough, those things are hard to come up with. Marketing people work a long time, but it's not that you can't do that. You know, get a committee together locally as you think about it, designing your exhibit. Get 4 or 5 creative people in your chapter together and come up with something that you think would draw people in and that would be catchy. Use the NARFE logo, but also you might have something underneath that says, you know, come join us, or we've got something you want. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to come here to this one. And I think you have to touch the, there you go.
No.
Oh, it's on now. Don't touch the microphone. It'll go off. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm John Arata from Salina, Kansas, the chapter president and also area VP for Central Kansas Federation. We started something about a year ago, maybe almost 2 years ago now, putting ads in a newspaper a couple of times a month. Our newspaper goes over several counties as more than our chapter does, but people, and it's been an ad about 3 inches long, and it's on a paper that comes out called The Neighbors, which is about a half price rate on some Mondays. And it's brought in a few members. A few people said, yeah, we saw your ad in the newspaper and you know, and called me up. We've had a few people come to meetings, say, we saw your ad in the newspaper, can I join you?
Great.
For the cost of it, it's not been great, but I think it's worth a lot in getting our name out there, because I've heard some other people say that, oh, we saw you, we know who you are.
Yeah.
Another thing is we got some posters that you know, the magnets you put on the side of the car. I've had that on my pickup for a couple of months, and the neighbors certainly wonder what you're up to. And so, but it starts a conversation.
It does. It does.
We've had a car in a parade, just the old county parade, and people come up, well, what is NARFE? Well, then you got an opportunity to talk.
Yeah.
So just some ideas of things that we're doing in a rather small town of 50,000 people. I don't know what our...
And I think that's a key point. In larger cities, sometimes the mass media is much more difficult to get into and much more expensive. But in smaller communities, you have lots of options. And even in some of the larger cities, I live in a city of town of 300,000, but we have a 4th of July parade that is like the old county fairs. It's almost anybody, anything can put a car in the 4th of July parade. It doesn't cost much. We also have a community page in the local newspaper which will announce meetings. It's not an ad, but it will announce meeting times. So, you know, there might be some options. Okay, let's see.
Number 9 is next in the queue.
Okay, number 9.
Good afternoon. One of the things I've tried is, unfortunately, and this may happen with many chapters, you only have email addresses for probably 1/3 of your members. At each of the meetings in September of 2013, I've asked people to provide their email addresses. Some of them aren't legible, but most of them I can read. We had a potluck, I think it was in June, and I emailed all those people that have attended the meetings since the first one in September of 2013, and we probably got 10 to 12 to 15 more people at the potluck than we usually get at our meetings. And I've been told in several organizations, the only people they'll talk to is the president of the organization. And it seems to have worked, so I recommend that some of you might try just contacting these people in person, and if you haven't got their emails, you probably have their phone numbers, and just get on the phone, which I've done a couple of times, and they've responded. Thank you.
Great, good suggestion.
Number 4 is next in the queue.
Okay.
Hi, Felicia Bradley, President of Chapter 1140, Gulf Beaches in Florida, also District Vice President, State of Florida. There are many things that we've been doing that we are very happy about. One of them is getting into Bay Pines, which is one of the federal health centers. We worked about 2 or 3 years getting the right contacts there. Now they automatically let us know twice a year when they have pre-retirement seminars. We go in and we do the table, we use the brochures, we have a little 10, 15-minute talk at each of the retirement seminars, and we get invited special. We use the applications for the drawing. We use Publix gift certificates, and so they all want that gift certificate, so we get everybody to put it in the applications, whether they're joining or not. And then they will go ahead and put either their application that they are joining or they're not on the thing, and that has worked real well.
Great
But
idea.
we at first were not allowed to go on to the campus, and so it's a real difficult thing to get on, but once you're in, it's very helpful. Thank you.
It's all about relationships. Good suggestion. Who's next?
Number 8 is next.
Oh, I'm Mary Pearson, Chapter 0209, Biloxi, Mississippi. We have some creative ways of recruitment. Our area across the coast of Mississippi is a tourist attraction, so they're always having parades, some kind of cookouts. We always get a table and set up there. We offer, like you had said, candy, bottles of water. We have the applications and the little cards, the membership cards. So actually we have them fill out one of those, and I send them into headquarters, and so they'll follow up on those. But what I've done is I go to all of the health fairs, and the National Guard actually has health fairs too, and theirs is in June. I can go on the military base, so when I go on the military base, go into the cafeteria or something like that, get to talking to the people, and end up handing them an application out of my purse. Works very well. We do a lot of the things some of the other people were talking about. I also have the magnetic signs for the sides of my car. And the other day I was at a shopping center, and this gentleman came almost running over to the car, and he said, "I saw your sign." And I said, "Well, thank you." He said, "Tell me about NARFE." I told him about NARFE, and I gave him an application. He filled it out. And by the way, if anyone wants those magnetic signs, the president of the North Carolina chapter is the one that sells those signs. So it's very good. And I was the #2 recruiter in the nation last year.
Thank you. I am running out of time. My little clock down here says that I'm going over. So I'm going to have to, I've got a couple more slides, just a couple of things. This is Tom Peters. Tom Peters has written several books in management, and it's a quote from him. He says, "It all matters. When you're promoting the brand, everything you do, everything you choose not to do, communicates the value and character of the brand. Everything from the way you handle phone conversations to the email messages you send to the way you conduct business in a meeting is part of the larger message you're sending about your brand. So as you recruit new members, we are the brand. We confirm the brand by who we are and everything we say and do." So I thank you for sharing today. I thank you for your great ideas, and I hope you will continue to share ideas with each other. Membership is not just the membership chairman's responsibility. It is everybody's job. As members, we are all recruiters. Thank you.
Hi, how are you? I'm Bridget Bowl. I'm the membership director at National. I just wanted to let you know we have evaluation forms out front, and we'd really appreciate it if you could fill those out for us. You can return them, you can leave them there on the table, or just across the hall at the office. Thanks.